Hello there.
Good morning.
Hello, everybody.
Good afternoon. No holiday today in Spain?
Not in all Spain. In Barcelona, there is, I think that, yes, today is holiday, but I think that the rest of Spain, probably we don't have this day. It was, for most of Spain, it was Thursday and Friday.
Sounds good. Must be the rest of Europe then. I think France is off, like Sebastian,
Yeah.
Germany. Anyway, so we may be a bit light on attendance today. All right. Let's see. I don't see anything in the agenda yet for today. Do people have topics to bring up? I think I've missed this meeting the last couple of weeks, so others may have a better idea of what's happening. Are you typing, Juan Miguel?
Yes.
All right, I guess we'll start talking about failover and resistance.
Yes. I don't know if should we wait for more people, or Sebastian is not going to join. Is also vacations in Germany.
Yeah, I think holiday in
Okay.
Germany as well. So I'm
Okay.
not sure who else we'll get today.
Well, we
Okay.
could
So we can.
maybe slant it more towards the downstream, discussion too, if we have mostly just, right after
Yes.
here.
Yes. We are probably everybody from the hat. Yes. Yes. It would be nice to comment this thing with also with Susa people. Okay. Well, it's just to to comment about what is the current state of failover, resilience, the health of the system when something happens in the manager, and the possibilities to recover the manager with FADM. Okay, I'm a little bit worried about that. Possibly is not heavily tested. Okay, I think that this is not going to happen with Rook, because basically what we have in the base is Kubernetes. Okay, so these kind of things are probably solved in most of the cases, but with FADM, I think that it could be interesting to have a view of what is the current state. Okay, so let's store the item, and I think that we can discuss in the next meeting with the upstream people.
It kind of reminds me of the progress module, which is storing its state persistently with the manager so that those events don't go away. Is Ceph ADM already doing something similar? Or could it?
Well, the only thing that we have in Ceph ADM is that you can deploy two managers. Okay, but it's not clear that this is going to work, or I think that we should test more heavily this kind of scenarios. I think in general, I think that I think that is something that is logical. Okay, CFADM is very new. Okay, and probably, well, these kind of things about the health of the system and about to have safe ADM working in disaster recovery situations, I think that we should try to test more heavily, okay? And probably it's something that nobody is going to do. We do not start to have to take this task in order to be done. So it's just about that, okay? So probably we will need, well, things are going to arise.
Well, let me just ask
Yeah, certainly.
Travis. I mean, what happens today? I mean, so in each of the managers, we have, Ceph, Ceph ADM. There are four components that the, dashboard requires. So we've got, Ceph ADM, we've got Prometheus, we've got the alert client or whatever we call it, and then Grafana. I mean, so do we replicate each of those on every single manager node? And do we use HA proxy to fail those over upstream? I mean, that's the ideal solution, right? I mean, from the point of view of what we would like to see, I would think, at least from speaking it from a downstream perspective, what actually happens, say, upstream? I mean, I brought this up last week. I don't think you were at the meeting, Travis, and I just said we have to talk about it at some point. And I didn't bring up gory details, but I don't even know. I mean, I don't know what happens upstream. And do you know? And could you describe what we do there?
As far as like failover with all these components and these modules that
Yeah, exactly.
that
I
we've
mean,
got running. Right.
do we have a complete stack on
Well,
each of the manager nodes, or do we just, bring up Prometheus and Grafana on one instance? I would just love to hear that, what we do upstream.
right. Well, for Rook specifically, I mean, we only have a single manager, and we don't even allow starting more than one manager. So we rely on Kubernetes to restart the manager or move it to another node if it fails. Um, so yeah, there's only one at a time, and when it starts up, we just expect the modules to come up wherever it comes up. And I think the challenge of we've had several discussions in the past with Sage and others about how to have multiple managers, because sometimes even Kubernetes isn't perfect about failing over the pods, right? And I'm trying to remember what challenge there was with multiple managers. How do you manage them, or you want to treat one as the primary, I think, but how do you change the primary if one failed? I can't remember the details though of that issue of supporting multiple managers. So I'll go back and check
Right.
some emails or notes.
And you have the Rook implementation, which could potentially be different than as you were talking, than the non-Rook, Ceph ADM derivative, right? And so I would think that would require those multiple stacks with an HA proxy implementation. I mean, I would think, but I mean, so that's really would be nice to get our hands around, I think, and try to figure out how we could model the orchestration layer to handle both and be effective, more or less the same at the higher levels, work the same, and then at the underlying, Rook or Ceph ADM implementation, do the appropriate things, there. So I don't know. That's my thought on it, but I have no idea what we're planning on where we're going, and typically, do we just increment our way there, or do we talk about it architecturally, figure it out? I mean, how do we typically do it? Because I haven't paid a lot of attention upstream. Is that something that someone just decides they want to do, go writes a PR and increments, and then basically tries it and then gets feedback, or is that something you discuss architecturally up front and try to figure out a plan?
Yeah. I mean, this meeting is a great place to have that discussion and coordinate that work.
Yeah.
Especially when there are big design discussions or design decisions to be made. The question of having multiple managers supported, I think that can easily apply to both Rook and Ceph ADM. Probably more necessary for Ceph ADM because you don't have Kubernetes to help with the failover.
Yeah.
But it could, if we support it, if we need it for Ceph ADM, well then Rook could benefit from having multiple managers as well with this. Yeah, certainly.
Yes, I think that that we have two different things. One is to have several managers working together, okay, and in Rook that is possible, of course, okay. And another different thing is the failover and the disaster recovery situations, okay, because in this moment what we have in Ceph ADM basically is something that is only deployed one time and using system D service, okay? So it is going to restart automatically, theoretically, okay? And but what we are not going to have is the possibility to move this service, for example, the manager, from one node to another one, okay? This is not possible in this moment in Ceph ADM. So I don't know if the solution could be just to have several managers, okay, at least two managers. And for example, as Jeff has commented, to have the HA proxy working in order to distribute the load or distribute the request, routing the request to the right manager, okay? This is one possibility. Another possibility is just to restart the service in another node and doing this the orchestrator. I think that well, my opinion is that probably we are putting too much things in the orchestrator layer in Ceph ADM. With this, I prefer, for example, the solution that Jeff has pointed, using HA proxy and to have the possibility to have several managers working together. This is my opinion, because I think that we're trying to do the same things that Kubernetes doing with Ceph ADM probably is not a good idea.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about just detecting failure and moving the active one to a different manager, that's what the manager already does today by itself. If you're running multiple of them, if the active one goes down, another one will become the active one and go out of standby mode essentially, and is kind of coordinated by the monitor having the active manager controlled by the monitor map, telling the managers which manager is supposed to be active. So it seems like it's something
Yes.
it's already kind of there, but maybe the like the Ceph ADM module or other modules might need to have some extra state that they're currently in progress be stored, so that when the standby becomes active, it can restart or continue operations.
Yeah. Yeah, but what I don't understand with that is why, for example, in Rook, it's not possible to do that, okay? What I think that Sage told us that it was not going to work because we are because the two managers are going to try to expose the same service with the same port. I don't remember why. What was the reason of that?
Yeah. So as I recall, so there's, say you have two managers, one of them is active and one of them is passive, correct? If you put
Yeah.
a service endpoint in front of it, like HA proxy, and it just does round robin routing, right? You're not going to get the same manager every time, but you want to point to the active one, right? So how do we point to the active one from that service endpoint? A normal Kubernetes service, well, it sort of acts like HA proxy, right? Just round robin. Is there a way? And I think there's a way to configure HA proxy so it can route to a certain endpoint instead of just round robin. I'm not real familiar. We'd have. I mean, that's one thing to look into. How can we make HA proxy route to the active one?
Okay,
right?
so it's a problem with the service of Kubernetes and the HA proxy.
That, I believe that was the problem. Just how do you route to the active one instead of round robin?
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Let me add it.
Okay. Well, in any case, I think that is something that we should test, see if it is working. Okay, in Ceph ADM, I think that all this part about resilience, about health, about disaster recovery, failover, I think that probably it's good to start to doing tests with that.
Yeah, I think it would make a lot of sense to add that to like the manager methodology suite. There's already we call them like thrashers, like randomly kill like OSDs and monitors. We could add a similar one for the manager.
Yeah.
But actually, when you fail over, though, trying to maintain state, I mean, in my past lives, I mean, we never really tried to maintain state. It's a very difficult problem, right? So you would just at least have another place, another point to go get into a dashboard and remanage again and go back to where you're at, versus, I mean, you guys are thinking that we could actually maintain state and pick up the command where we left off. I mean, that's a very, very large bar, and I'd say that that's probably not what I think we, probably want to look for short term anyway. Maybe long term, yeah, but I mean, that's going to require a lot of work and a lot of re-architecture, I would think.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
It would
I'm
be
not sure
very
that's the goal in my mind.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
Good. So, because the way you said it earlier, Travis, or no, Josh said something about like, maintaining state so you can, continue the command, when you fail over. It's like, wow, that would be tough. So, it'd be nice, but yeah, that would require a whole different architecture. Probably.
Yeah. Well, I guess in that regard, I mean, Rook itself isn't really stateful, but where we rely on Kubernetes and etcd underneath that basically to remember what our desired state is, and then every time Rook wakes up or the operator runs or whatever, then we go and make that desired state happen. And with Ceph ADM, it's following a similar model, right, where there's some desired state and it tries to go apply it. So if Ceph ADM wakes up, well, I'm not totally sure how it works. Is there a same concept? There's not like a Ceph ADM operator, right? It's just driven by the manager. Is that fair? Or is there something that can go look at desired state when it gets restarted or whatever?
yeah, it seems like architecturally it could work the same way as Rook, but using the monitor as its data store, where that's kind of desired state.
Right.
I'm not sure if that's how it's working today, though.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like it could use that mod store for desired state where it needs to.
Well, I guess that's something for us to look into, Daniel and Juan Mi. I guess how does that work and what we could use it.
Mhm. Okay.
But I think one thing, just to be clear, so I think we're not saying that we expect Ceph ADM to fail over a manager. Like if it fails, start it somewhere else. I think you would just expect to start up multiple managers, and then
Yeah.
you're just managing which one is active, basically, or where the
Yes.
proxy is pointing or whatever. Right. So we're not trying to get
Yeah, I think the
Kubernetes
manager's kind of
behavior
already.
where it starts it somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
I think relying on the existing support for the manager to fail over it by itself makes more sense than trying to reinvent Kubernetes.
Right. But what's interesting in that model as well, that again, I don't know what we do today upstream, but do we put all the components we require, within each, within each manager? That's the question. I don't know if we do. Like Grafana, I don't think we do, because if we do failovers, we don't get Grafana, right? So that indicates to me that we didn't have multiple instances of Grafana downloaded. And again, is that something we want to do upstream and just bring it downstream with us and have it work, or is that something we just want to do downstream? I don't really care, but it would be a good discussion to have. The more we do upstream and we're consistent, and the more it gets tested, the more the better off we'll be for in the long run. So, but it'd be nice to just understand what those are, the 4 components that loaded on each one. And I guess you Juan, Mi, and Danny, you should be able to track that down, right? And figure that out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I think that maybe we can elaborate a little bit more this point, okay? And maybe in the next meeting we can expose all these things, okay? I will write down all our conversation.
Sounds good. Yeah, to bring it up next week again when people are back online.
And Well, not too much things from my part. I think that, well, there is a pull request in Rook about the integration test with Ceph Manager. It's ongoing, okay? You can take a look, okay? I would like to have it integrated, okay? Or for example, to create a new suite in order to run this suite every night, or I think, or a separate suite, okay? Because what I want to have is this integration test running all the nights against the master version of Ceph, okay? In order to detect as soon as possible any problem with the API or with the orchestrator interface, okay? This moment is only covering the base use cases, OSDs, and basically all the commands to check status, device status, service status, these kind of things, okay? But I think that it could be interesting to have this running as soon as possible in order to warn us if we have problems with the orchestration API. In this moment, it's failing the OSD creation test because a bug in the Ceph orchestrator that there is also a pull request ongoing in order to solve this. Okay, so.
Okay, I think I just found it. So you're ready for me to take a look? I guess I haven't looked through that enough in detail yet, so I'll look at that today.
Yes, thank you. No hurries, okay? But
yeah.
It's in the queue.
Sounds good. 4913. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes,
I definitely want to have that nightly job to run the manager test against Ceph Master.
Okay, if you want me to change something or to, for example, I don't know, if it's needed something additional in order to create a new suite, just tell me. I want.
Right. Yeah. The whole Jenkins configuration and getting a nightly job, that while it's probably a simple task, that I'll ping someone else to help out with that too. Once we have the job ready to be triggered.
Okay.
So in the meantime, so you said the test is still failing the CI that we're just running with the PR, right? So once we figure that out, then we'll get the new job running.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Any other PRs you had? It's mainly that manager test.
It's only that, and there is another one that is the bug with the orchestrator API in the Ceph repository.
Okay. You want to put a link to that in the notes, or who needs to look at that?
Yes.
Then?
Yeah. Moment. I have put it in the.
Okay, cool. So the fix we need from the Ceph side is correct data. Is that in master then? Oh, it's not merged yet.
It's not merged yet. It's integration tests are ongoing. Okay, some tests fail, but I think that is because other problems. Okay, so it is ongoing. I hope that it will be merged in not too much time.
Sounds good. Okay. I'm trying to think if there are other Rook things. I mean, last week we had the 1.3 release. It's out the door. What around orchestration is there to worry about? I'm not sure there's much to talk about here, though, on that topic. All right. Yeah, other topics then to bring up today. All right. If not, sounds like we can call it good for now. And we'll talk more about the failover and HA proxy and all that later or another day. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, folks.
Okay.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye now.
All right. Talk to you later.